I'm here with Charlie. We just lost 1-0 to Newcastle away. Very different feeling to last season.
Yeah, I'm just tired of this, mate. We're so bad and it's just depressing. I don't really know what we do from here because the squad is so shit. The players look like they're not bothered. Doesn't matter what combination of players we put out on the pitch, it's all terrible. Some of these guys aren't good enough. A lot of these players don't even want to be here either. What do you expect the manager to do? You know, we've tried so many different lineups, we've tried different systems, and the one constant over the years has been the squad. And they're not good enough. There's so many of these players aren't good enough to play for this football club. And until we get rid of the players that aren't good enough and bring in ones that are good enough with the right mentalities and get rid of players that don't want to be at this football club, then nothing is going to change. You know, you can have whatever manager you want in the dugout. It makes no difference because ultimately this squad is not good enough, the attitude's not good enough. Like, they didn't even bother coming over to clap the fans at the end. Just straight down a tunnel, gaffers straight down a tunnel, players are straight down a tunnel. Like, it's not good enough, it's unacceptable. You know, we make the journey up and down the country to support the guys. You know, you're paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week to play for this football club. The least you could do is come over and applaud us for turning up. And that just tells you everything you need to know about the attitude and the group of players we've got at the moment, because right now, you know, we're spineless. We've got nothing, absolutely nothing. I don't trust a single one of these players, bar perhaps Thiago Silva, Reece James, Lewis Hall. That's it. No one else can say anything positive about them at all. It's just not good enough. And until that changes, it's just going to be more depressing days like this one.
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I was speaking to Lewis. He said Thiago Silva was our best player, and he's 38. And today it was Lewis Hall, was an 18-year-old. There's nothing in the middle. You can't pick a random player and say, you know what, I trust you to do a job. And I just think this is the issue. I think Potter, you said it yourself, he's trying things. It's like, what more can the guy do?
Well, this is my point. You know, people that are getting at the manager, what do you expect him to do? And what do you expect to be any different? You know, people got short memories. Like, yes, Tuchel was great and we all loved him. The form in the league was diabolical. We've been shit in the league for years. You know, we never played good football in the league under Tuchel. I remember we just scraped that fourth on the last day of the season because Spurs beat Leicester, and then we should have easily come top four last season, and we made a complete fucking mess of it and just about scraped it in the last couple of days. So to pretend that the league form was better under Thomas Tuchel is an utter nonsense. We haven't been good in the league for years, and it's all our short-termisms from the previous regime coming home to roost all at once. You cannot be competitive in the league, keep swapping the managers every 18 to 24 months and then expect a new manager to come in, pick it up and everything to be all right. You know, we've got to give Potter time to get rid of the players that he doesn't want, get rid of the players that aren't good enough, bring in his own players that he wants at this football club, let him put these ideas together, and that's not going to happen in 2 months. That might take 2 years, that might take 3 years. And you know what? We're going to have to suffer. And the sooner people realise that, then the better it's going to be for us.
I mean, we're going to have to suffer no matter what happens. The question is Todd Boehly going to give him the time that he needs?
Well, I think Todd Boehly seems a smart man. I think he's fully aware of the task at hand. You know, I'm impressed with what he's done in terms of the structures that he's building and whatnot. You know, he bought Graham Potter in on a 5-year contract. If he was to get rid of him, you know, at the end of this season, what does that say about him? Kind of makes a mockery of the decisions that he's made so far. So the answer is not changing the manager. The answer never has been changing the manager. You know, we were just blindsided by the fact that, you know, getting rid of the manager, we picked up a few trophies and there was kind of light at the end of the tunnel. But in terms of, you know, being competitive over 38 games, we haven't been competitive over 38 games for 5 or 6 years now. You know, since we won last from the Premier League, we have been nowhere near. And changing the manager constantly is not going to bring us any closer to winning the league.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's not really much to say, though, is there? I mean, we didn't get battered. I mean, that's something. But it's like Arsenal, isn't it? I mean, the scoreline doesn't really reflect what we saw. I mean, we weren't winning. We weren't bringing the ball up the pitch. We didn't have shots. Broho was isolated. What players do you think need to go?
Mate, it's really easy to say which ones we keep. I mean, where do we start? Pulisic, not good enough. Havertz, shit. Ziyech doesn't want to be here. Get rid of him. You know, even I don't know. You just go. The list goes on. I mean, I'm not going to name them all because it's obvious the players that aren't good enough and the guys that don't want to be here. But ultimately, like, people complaining about the lineup today. All right, yeah, Broja, Mount, Gallagher front three was all right. It was fucking awful. But these are players that people have wanted to start. So then don't then have a go when it doesn't really work out. At least he's trying things and playing players that warrant playing on form. Okay, maybe Mount doesn't warrant playing on form, but the likes of Gallagher deserves a chance. Broja, we've wanted him to get more opportunities in the Premier League. Lewis Hall's got an opportunity today, and I thought he was pretty good again. So yeah, look, I don't think the players were. We don't think we were terrible today, but we're so bad on the ball. We don't create anything. In 90 minutes we had one decent chance. Gallagher forces a decent save from Pope in the second half. What do we do other than that? Absolutely nothing. And that isn't going to change. It's clear that these players aren't good enough to produce for this football club to produce on the football pitch. So until they go, nothing's going to change.
The players aren't good enough. You said it yourself. As fans, do we need to lower our expectations?
Yeah, of course. We've been so spoiled, as in myself and yourself, others as well. We've grown up following Chelsea, where all we've known is winning, and the expectation at this football club is to win trophies, absolutely. But there's also no problem in accepting that whilst that is the aim and what the standard is, we aren't at that standard at the moment. And it's as simple as that. Yes, we want to win trophies. Yes, that's the DNA of this football club over the last 20 years. But ultimately, we're a long way from winning anything right now. And the sooner we lower our expectations, realise that this is a building phase, And the one thing I would say is, yes, you want to win trophies, but as long as we're making tangible progress that you can see from season on season, that's building towards winning something, then you can accept that as a fan, because you can see that we're making progress. Right now, we are making zero progress. We have been terrible this whole calendar year. We've been awful. You can count on one hand or less the amount of times we've actually played well in a game of football this year. That's not good enough. And the one constant in that is the squad and the players. We've changed managers. We've had world-class managers in Thomas Tuchel. We've got an up-and-coming manager now in Graham Potter. Nothing's changing. So for those people that think changing the manager is the answer, they need to realise that building a football team doesn't take 2 months. It can take 2 or 3 years.
Are you happy going into the World Cup that you don't have to watch Chelsea for a bit? You got a break?
Mate, I'm absolutely delighted that I don't have to. I've got 6 weeks break from the shit that we're serving up at the moment. I mean, obviously, after a week or so, I'll probably miss it and whatnot. And England might do shit in Qatar, but yeah, it's nice to have a break. I think the whole club needs a break. We just need to regroup, reset. And Potter's got a lot of reflecting to do over this next 6 week period, because it doesn't get any easier after the World Cup. And our place in the top 4 is in grave danger.
I don't think we have a place, to be honest with you. I think that place has been taken by Newcastle from what it looks like, but hopefully we can get something out of it.